do a video. In today's video, I'll be reviewing two very short games, as you can see from the right of your screen. This game was it was a 10-minute game with 5 second each move you make, 5 extra seconds each move you make. This game literally there was nothing that happened, but I'm still gonna show you either way because it did help my elo increase. And the next game's a bit more exciting, but also a very short game. This game is literally like just the average 400 elo game you would expect. So I start with e4, he goes e5, and then we both develop our knights. I mean, he develops the bishop, I'm sorry, and I develop a knight. Literally just simple stuff. I develop my second knight, and then he develops the f6 knight. I mean, there's nothing to it so far. Also, Black spent 43 seconds on the first move, which, if you look at the time, it's kind of insane considering we're 4 moves into the game. But I played d3, and then he played knight to c6. This is like completely normal stuff. I played bishop g5, pinning the knight to the queen, of course. Again, this is like basic stuff. He pushes his pawn attacking my bishop, so I respond by taking the knight on f6. Queen takes. There's literally nothing happening. I move my bishop to f2. Not the best move, but I'm used to this type of way of developing my bishop. I don't know why. I usually don't fianchetto because I pin the knight, sack it for the knight, and then just develop my bishop here. That's what I tend to do. I kind of like that more. But then we get the move knight to d4. It's reasonable. It attacks this knight. It looks here. So for like queen moves, you have a potential fork, of course, which obviously isn't happening. And the main idea is it looks at this knight and like builds pressure on the knight and the bishop. I take the knight. He takes with the bishop, and I ignore his bishop to my knight and just castle my king. I'd say a pretty natural move. He castles his king, and then I play d5, and he resigns. Well, he ran out of time, or like they automatically aborted him. But I don't know why he was thinking so much. It was weird. I'm not sure what was wrong with the position. It attacked his queen, but unless he made like a silly move, like I feel like a lot of people 400 elos might accidentally do like queen to c6 or something, which of course would be a fork. Yeah, but that's literally the entire game. He just resigned, and I got like 15 free points of elo for that. So that was interesting. The next game is a bit more exciting, but it also ended very fast. This game was between me and some guy from Ivory Coast. I don't think that's the Ireland flag. Okay, but this was the game. As you can see, there's some inaccuracies, some misses, blunders, and yeah, we'll just play out the game. It begins with e4. This time the guy from Ivory Coast has the white pieces. Of course, a book move. I respond with e5. Again, completely normal position. White develops the knight. I develop my knight defending the pawn from his knight. And then this was insane. Like, I can't define why he would go knight to g1. This guy, at the time of recording this guy was like, he might have been like 380, 390. I was still ahead of this guy in elo. I had a higher rating than this guy. And this guy had the audacity to bring his knight back to g1. He thought he was some grandmaster here. And then, oh my god, I went f6. I just developed my knight attacking this pawn. And then all of a sudden he brings his bishop out to d3, which isn't even, that's not even that good of a move. It's ranked as a good move, not an excellent or best move. So I go d6, again, a good move, but could be better. And then he goes queen to f3. I never like bringing my queen out in the beginning. Literally never. Yeah, I don't know. This guy had like, this guy really thought he was really good or something. So I played the move bishop g4, attacking the queen, defended by the knight, of course. He does the best move, which is to shift the queen to g3. After this, I played the move bishop e7, again, like how I always bring the bishop to one of these squares, because I find it most easy for me. He plays the move f3, which is a good move, but obviously he has better moves. Game continues with me retreating my bishop to like the central, really nicely protected, developed area. And then he does the move queen to g7, which if I was in his position, I might have accidentally done this myself too. But it's marked as an inaccuracy because it really like threatened, like black can create a lot of attacks on this queen, preventing white's like development of its needed pieces, while also having to make the queen like run around. So I'm assuming that's why it was an accuracy, and the lack of development of pieces compared to white creating attacks on this queen, naturally developing their setup, created like and that to be an inaccuracy. That's my guess, of course. I responded with g8, again developing my rook while kicking out the queen. Queen went h6, and I went rook g6. I don't know. I think for some reason I thought this was the best move in this position. I thought about that for quite some time. He played bishop to h4. Now, this is where I accidentally, I don't know why this isn't marked as a blunder, but I played the move, this is pretty embarrassing, but I played the move f4. Now, if you can tell, this is a huge W for white. They just gain a whole piece. The only reason it's not, white isn't down here, is because even if the queen took, which of course I didn't think about this at all. I'll explain my logic in just a second. Even if the queen took here, I gained a pawn from taking the pawn here. So that's +1, -3, and then +1. So I'd only be down a pawn worth of material. But that's, being down at knight is much more worse this early on, in my opinion. But my logic was, first of all, we're both 400 elo here, so we're both probably not good at seeing discovered attacks. This attack does put a discovered attack on the queen, but this logic would have made sense if like the queen was somehow on a different square that could like fit this. But I didn't apply the logic that queen can take on the knight on e4. I didn't think about that at all. But my opponent in this position, they actually thought I hung the knight, but they didn't take it with the queen. I did hung the knight, of course, but they also didn't realize the queen couldn't take it, which is weird because I feel like if I was the opponent, I would have realized that I screwed up with the move e4. But in this position, he takes with the bishop. Now, I was so happy in this position. I didn't find out until I analyzed this game and reviewed the game that the knight to e4 was actually a blunder. But this guy fell for the trap. And after I took on h4, he resigned. That was insanely lucky that I got to do the move h4. That was pure luck. There's no way that guy. Even after I took the queen, he can't even take back my bishop. That's the worst part. I can retreat my bishop back if he creates an attack on it. It's that I can't believe he took with the bishop looking back on this game. But yeah, this game, despite being like around the same length, this game was a lot more interesting. So those were the two games I had for you. Tomorrow is, of course, is officially August. So I will go through the monthly bots tomorrow. And if you did watch my previous video, I've been working on Chess Zero, and I added like a bunch of like playable bots, and I fixed a lot of the courses, the short courses and short teaching like segments on there, so it's more accurate and there's no like inaccurate plays. I had Stockfish like go through a bunch of plays, and all of the like movements and all of that to make sure everything was accurate. There is still some mistakes that I need to go back and fix, but this will take a couple weeks for me to actually make the Chess Zero a really good website. For now, I will just trying to be upload content as much as I can. That's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you and bye.